Mab's aggression is often seen as competitive spirit, but sometimes she crosses the line, making fans, analysts, and other players question if she plays fair. This came to a head when she got what many called karma. A Minnesota Lynx player fouled her hard during an important game. Mab was left clutching her face, in pain and clearly upset. Seeing her scream and struggle on the court was a big contrast to her usual image as a tough, unstoppable competitor. For many watching, it was a moment of reckoning. Mab had a reputation for pushing the limits between being competitive and playing dirty, and now she was paying the price.
With a straight face, there's no agenda against Caitlin Clark. With a straight face. They're not targeting her, right? The WNBA is going to have to figure this out. The NBA figured out in the 80s to early 90s, they got to get rid of all that physical play. That's not a good product. That's not putting butts in the seats like scoring. By the way, that was not even a flagrant foul. But in the same breath, they want to call Aaliyah Boston for every single touch foul.
What made this moment even more striking was the context. Just a few months earlier, Mab had a well-known clash with Caitlin Clark, a top player famous for her skill and calm under pressure. During that game, Mab's aggressive behavior drew criticism, with many saying she was trying to throw Clark off her game with physical play that almost crossed the line. Clark stayed composed, but it was clear to fans that Mab had gone too far. At the time, she seemed to get away without any real consequences, but that would change later.
Had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because.
The foul Mab received during the game against the Minnesota Lynx was seen by many as the universe finally balancing the scales. Mab, who had often pushed the limits of what was acceptable on the court, was now facing the consequences of her actions. The hit wasn't just physical, it was a reminder that in basketball, as in life, your actions eventually catch up with you.
When they got eliminated from the playoffs, the attendance dropped, the ratings dropped. If the WNBA is more, it is, and I get it. Why aren't people?
It wasn't just the foul itself that made an impact, it was what it represented. For years, Mab had played aggressively without serious consequences, but in that moment, she had to face the reality of her actions. The fall wasn't only a physical hit, it was a message that her style of play had finally caught up with her. The pain she felt was both emotional and physical, and it was clearly visible in her reaction.
When I talk about this a little bit, in that we're still not talking about basketball.
No.
We're still not allowed to be focused on for our basketball play.
Carrington, a player known for her aggressive and sometimes controversial style, was also facing the consequences of her actions. She had previously made headlines for giving Caitlin Clark a black eye during a game, which many saw as a deliberate, dirty move. The incident left a lasting mark, both physically and in people's minds, and raised questions about how far some players were willing to go to gain an advantage on the court.
22-year-old Caitlin Clark, who was single-handedly changed the game, brought in millions of other young fans, old fans. How about the ratings in college basketball for her? Record ratings. And now in her very short WNBA career, shattering records. Isn't that a win for everybody? Yes, black players too, regardless of race, regardless of who they choose to sleep with. Like, what are we doing? And
the fall on Clark wasn't random. It was seen as a calculated move by Carrington to throw one of the league's top players off her game. Clark had been dominating up to that point, but the hit left her visibly shaken. The black eye wasn't just a physical injury. It also symbolized how rough and aggressive play had become in the WNBA. Fans were outraged, and many called for stricter penalties for players who acted this way.
Through and I hit her, so obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
In the game, they caught you guys laughing about it?
No, I just told you I didn't even know.
Karma caught up with Carrington during another heated game. This time, she was on the receiving end of a vicious foul so severe that her teammates had to hold her back to prevent retaliation. Carrington, who always prided herself on being tough, was now the one being restrained, as her teammates knew acting back would only make things worse. To understand this moment, we need to remember what started it all: Carrington's infamous fall on Caitlin Clark. In a game between the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever, Carrington deliberately poked Clark in the eye, giving her a black eye and sparking major controversy.
Versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next.
For Carrington, this was a moment that would define her career. She had always been known as a physical player, but this incident crossed a line for many fans. The deliberate fall and the visible injury it caused showed that she was willing to go to extreme lengths to gain an advantage. But as we've seen, karma has a way of catching up.
Clark get poked in the eye. Caitlin said in media after that was accidental, that was unintentional, but we saw reporters gaslighting that situation, trying to make more of it, speaking to amplifying the wrong narratives. As a result of that, Dejanay Carrington posted getting threats based off of an incident that Caitlin Clark said this was a basketball type of thing. I pushed through, we played a game, she played a good game after that. So she minimized it, tried to erase it, and tried to send a message like, y'all, there's nothing here. That was one in.
The fall Carrington received in her next game wasn't random. It was seen as payback for her previous actions. Like Mab, she was now facing the consequences of her aggressive style. Her reaction was full of rage and frustration. She had been used to being in control, using her physicality to dictate the game, but now she was the one being fouled and had to be held back by her teammates. These incidents reflect a broader trend in the WNBA. For years, players like Mab and Carrington could get away with aggressive play, with only occasional fines or suspensions, while the league often turned a blind eye. But now things are changing. Players are no longer willing to accept dirty fouls and are standing up for themselves, both on and off the court.
You and through the rest of the game. Thanks. Yeah, obviously got me pretty good in the eye. I don't think it affected me. Honestly, I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen.
One player leading this shift is Caitlin Clark. Even though she has often been targeted by aggressive players like Mab and Carrington, she has stayed calm and composed, refusing to respond with the same tactics. But even Clark, known for her poise and professionalism, has felt the emotional toll of facing such physical play. Her decision to take a break from basketball shows just how demanding the game can be, both physically and mentally.
Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for.
It has been a grueling season for Caitlin Clark, who has faced not only the physical demands of the game, but also the emotional challenges of being one of the league's top players. From the moment she stepped on the court, she had a target on her back. Players like Mab and Carrington saw her as a threat and didn't hesitate to use physical play to try to throw her off her game.
It's annoying because there were way too many Caitlin fans in our but like it just kudos because it's amazing to see so many people in women's basketball jerseys. It's amazing to see the excitement and the joy that comes out of that. So although I feel like our Dallas fans have done better, I had mixed feelings obviously seeing all the kids.
Clark stayed composed, refusing to retaliate or use the kind of dirty tactics that had become common in the league. She focused on her game and let her skills speak for themselves. But even the most composed players need a break. After a season full of highs and lows, Clark decided to take some time off. Instead of jumping straight back into basketball, she chose to travel around Europe, experiencing a world away from the court. The physical demands of the game are one thing, but the mental toll can be just as challenging. Between aggressive fouls and the disappointment of not receiving a unanimous Rookie of the Year vote, Clark needed time to process and recharge.
Basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's.
Clark is now enjoying her well-deserved break, but the WNBA is feeling the impact of her absence. As one of the league's most popular players, her decision to step away has left a noticeable void. Since she announced her break, viewership numbers have been steadily declining, and the league is struggling to maintain the same level of fan interest without her on the court.
lot of fans, they were anticipating Caitlin Clark becoming the 6th ever unanimous Rookie of the Year. Obviously, that did not come to fruition. She was just 1 vote shy. Were you surprised at all?
I wasn't really surprised, just because anytime you have 67 people voting on something, everyone's not going to have the same opinion. And Angel Reese, of course, had a terrific...
Fans are already excited about Caitlin Clark, but many believe her best is yet to come. Her impact on women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. No matter how great past players like Sheryl Swoopes were, Caitlin Clark has earned her place in the conversation for changing the game. Clark has made it clear that during her break, she won't be playing abroad or in smaller tournaments like 3-on-3s, meaning fans will have to wait until the 2025 season to see her back in the WNBA. Her absence is a major blow to both viewership and revenue, showing just how powerful her star is. But there is hope. When Clark returns in 2025, the league could see a surge in fans and excitement. Her comeback might be exactly the boost the WNBA needs.
Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Sheryl Swoopes, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for...
Caitlin Clark's return to the WNBA is highly anticipated, and for good reason. As one of the league's top players, her presence on the court draws fans. Her skill, poise, and ability to handle pressure have made her a fan favorite, and her absence has left a noticeable gap. When Clark comes back in 2025, the WNBA has a chance to benefit from her star power. Fans are eager to see her in action again, and her return could give the league a big boost in viewership and revenue. There is also hope that the WNBA will learn from past mistakes and make changes that help not just Clark, but all players.